Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. My name is Mark Johnson, Editorial Board Chair for CDO Magazine and Executive Leader for Strategic Data Management Analytics at Fusion Alliance here in Cincinnati. We're partnering with MIT CDO IQ and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Natalia Connolly, Vice President of Data Science at Infinite Acres. Natalia, welcome to the interview.
Thank you so much for having me.
As we get started with our interview, could you take a few minutes to share a little bit about your background and how you came to be responsible for data science at Infinite Acres?
Absolutely. I started out in academic research in physics. I got my PhD in experimental high energy physics and stayed in academia for quite some time. I was very fortunate to work with leaders of the field, including a Nobel Prize winner, Sol Perlmutter. I became data scientist and analytics leader. I've been very fortunate to work at such companies as 8451 and the Silicon Valley startup Earnin. And I came to Infinite Acres about a year and a half ago. And it's been absolutely wonderful.
Great. And as we get started, can you tell us a little bit about Infinite Acres? What does Infinite Acres do?
Absolutely. It's a vertical farming company. It's a very innovative concept, very innovative idea, which I'm absolutely thrilled to tell you and your listeners about. And we are mostly in the United States and in the Netherlands, but we have huge plans for expansion.
So vertical farming sounds really interesting. I think of typical farms as being sort of spread out over acres and acres and acres. But that's not true for vertical farming. So can you tell us a little bit about vertical farming? Describe it so that we have a picture.
Absolutely. So I think what you imagine is what most people probably imagine when they think about farming: large open fields growing soy or wheat or barley and so on. And even when we say that we work in high-tech farming, people probably typically imagine solar panels or sophisticated machinery or something like that, but not necessarily food growing indoors, plants growing indoors. But that's exactly the idea and the promise of vertical farming. We can grow food indoors in just about any building, controlling the environment to suit our plants. It's really quite a super efficient use of space. So for instance, our flagship farm, which you visited, the one in Hamilton, Ohio, can grow more than 300 times as much food per square foot as a traditional farm. And we grow year round. So our customers have access to fresh, nutritious, and delicious produce at any time. It's also incredibly environmentally friendly. So we use 97% less water than traditional agriculture, and we run on 100% renewable energy. We can also build our farms exactly where our customers live. And so that means there's really no need to burn fuel transporting produce for hundreds or thousands of miles, which is often the case with traditional agriculture. And our environment is very carefully controlled, which means there's really no need for pesticides. And so we can also adjust the growing conditions to grow precisely what we need. So for instance, if we have a specific nutritional or flavor profile in mind, we can absolutely adjust the environment to achieve that. And finally, because we can build vertical farms absolutely anywhere in the world, because the crops inside are shielded from whatever is happening outside, this industry is largely immune to the effects of climate change. So for all those reasons, I do believe that vertical farming is really, truly the key to the future of food and the future of health.
Wow. And, as you shared a little bit about that, especially the location of your vertical farms, you're also redefining what it means to say the term farm to market.
That is exactly right. That is exactly right. Where our customers are, they have access to our wonderful produce at any time.
Wow. And so I did do a tour, as you mentioned, and I was just blown away by what I saw. But I do want you to elaborate just a little bit more on the term vertical versus, horizontal. So I think you do have plants growing in layers that are stacked up vertically in a tall building.
That's exactly right. So you saw that enormous cube, that shielded off environment within our farm. And that is exactly where plants are. And as you pointed out, they grow in vertically stacked layers. So that's why we're a vertical farm. That's exactly right.
That's fascinating. So why is the vertical farming industry sometimes called ag tech? And, what does the ag and what does the tech mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I view vertical farming as sort of this ideal marriage of agriculture and technology. It's certainly still agriculture. We're still growing the same plants that humans have relied on for thousands of years, and biology still does come first at our farms. So our company employs a number of crop specialists, and these are the people who really have a deep and profound understanding of what it takes to grow a particular crop, what type of environment would produce perfect harvest, and how to sort of adjust that environment to steer the crop in this direction or in that direction. And by the way, by altering the environment, I don't mean genetic engineering. I mean altering things such as temperature, humidity, fertilizer composition, everything that's natural. So agriculture is definitely central to what we're doing, but it's not the end of the story. There's also a lot of cutting edge technology in vertical farming. So the reason for that is because we need to make sure that the environment in our grow zones, that giant cube that you saw, is exactly what the plants need, as determined by our R&D team and by the crop specialists together. And we need to be able to do that. We need to be able to allow our crops to experience that environment with as little disruption as possible. And so that calls for a sophisticated remote monitoring system. So at 70K, our flagship farm that you visited here in Hamilton, Ohio, we have state-of-the-art industrial sensors and cameras throughout the grow zone, throughout that cube. And then my team of analysts and data scientists catches that constant stream of data and analyzes it, watching for any kind of anomalies at all times. So we use machine learning and sophisticated computer vision algorithms to ensure that any deviations from those ideal growing conditions are caught right away, so we can mitigate any potential damage. So there's really a lot of tech in our approach to agriculture.
So the actual environmental space where the plants are growing is a human-free zone, right, in the vertical farm. So
Ideally, yes.
Those sensors are really important in helping you understand and remote control the conditions within the grow zone.
That's exactly correct. Yes.
So, can you just elaborate a little bit on what the role of data science is in vertical farming and why that's so essential in terms of a discipline for success within the field?
Absolutely. I do believe that data science is 100% crucial for the success of any vertical farm. And there are so many different branches of data science that we use here at all of our facilities, actually. It may sound a little bit surprising because, again, when people think of farming, that doesn't necessarily invoke, sophisticated data science and machine learning and artificial intelligence necessarily, and yet that's exactly what's absolutely crucial here. And so just to give you an example, we use a lot of predictive modeling to forecast our supply, which in our case means harvest amount and quality, and to forecast our customer demand. And we use sophisticated optimization algorithms to match up to the supply and the demand as best we can. We also use sophisticated anomaly detection algorithms that process that streaming data, that IoT data from the grow zone, that sensor data that I was talking about, so that, for example, if temperature becomes too hot or too cold for a particular crop in a particular location within the cube, we catch that anomaly right away and send an automated alert to the growers so they can fix the problem. And then our computer vision algorithms also constantly watch the stream of image data from the grow zone, again, analyzing the images for any anomalies so that if something is not quite right, we get an automated alert to the growers and they can fix it. Those who enjoy the statistical aspects of data science more might really like our R&D team, where we do a lot of experimenting with different crop varietals and different environmental conditions and how they affect the crops and the harvest. So that just calls for a need in experimental design and trial planning and analysis, a lot of really interesting statistical challenges here. And then if you happen to be an engineering-minded data scientist, there's room for you here too, because we deal with robotics and building algorithms that instruct robots how to harvest, how to sort, how to pack our produce. So really, data science is crucial for vertical farming, and there's lots of different ways to engage with it.
Awesome. Well, for our viewers, thank you so much for tuning into this interview. And we certainly have more fascinating interviews like this at CDO Magazine. So if you're interested in exploring what we have to offer, the insights that are coming from around the world on the role that data and analytics is playing in the success of our world, especially getting through the pandemic, please visit cdomagazine.tech and just search right on the site and you'll find some great additional interviews. Again, Mark Johnson, Vice President of Fusion Alliance in the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky region, Executive Leader for Strategic Data Management and Analytics at Fusion, and Executive Chair for the CDO Magazine Editorial Board. So we're excited to have you join us today. Thank you so much and have a great day.